Hey there, I'm Chris Carlisle, and welcome to the podcast Highways and Byways. It's a podcast about Texas. I have a nephew who's serving in the Army, and he just transferred from Fort Lewis in Washington to Fort Cavazos in Killeen. He also has an older brother who was in the Navy, who now lives in the Chicago area. Here's a look at some news. Temple has seen an increase in scams after the tornado. There are some real organizations that are in town helping. The Pink Bulldog Boutique in Belton has created T-shirts to benefit storm damage victims. The landfill in Temple is busy after the tornado. Belton School District has named its Teachers of the Year. They are Rachel Francis and Sierra Beckstrom. In San Antonio, a man is heartbroken after thieves broke into his nonprofit storage unit. And another man in San Antonio is grateful after he got a liver transplant. And come on, who would steal from a nonprofit? Anyway, Newsweek has said that hospitals in Austin are best for maternity care. The TV show The Day Tripper had its season finale last weekend, and they had a show about Temple. It's on PBS and hosted by a man named Chet Garner. They went to the Kolache Kitchen, the Temple Railroad and Heritage Museum, Trino's Pizzeria and Tap Room, and the Old Jody's. Chad helped make some kolaches at the Kolache Kitchen. He also ate some pizza at Trino's and some chicken fried steak with green beans and okra at Jody's. I happened to be there at Jody's when they were filming. I had catfish with shrimp and hush puppies. My mother used to watch The Day Tripper, and I told him about it. I went and ate at Trino's on Wednesday, and I had the pizza they call the Durfinator. It's pepperoni with ricotta cheese. Well, at work, I've seen people who work for different organizations that have come in to help with the tornado. All right, now there's a new segment called the H&B Top Ten. Yeah, I got the idea from late night. Anyway, it's the list is provided by listverse.com, and it's the top 10 weirdest wars in history. Number 10, the War of the Bucket. Number 9, the War of Jenkins' Ear. Number 8, the Pastry War. Number 7, the Toledo War. Number 6, the War of the Stray Dog. Number 5, the War of the Golden Spoon. Number 4, the Football War, as in soccer. Number 3, the Cod Wars. Number 2, the War of the Two Genies. And number 1, weirdest war of all time, the War of the Three Sanchos. Alright, coming up next, a look at the State Fair of Texas. I've been to the State Fair of Texas twice. It's every year in Dallas from September to October, and Big Tex welcomes you. He's the big giant cowboy. It has a midway food, football games, a car show, and more. Like pig races. I've seen the pig races. And I've ate a corny dog and a funnel cake, and also ate nachos another time. Other food they have there is a deep-fried pho, deep-fried cheesy crab tater bites, and turkey ribs. I've ridden the top of Texas Tower and the Texas Skyway. There's the Ferris wheel called the Texas Star. I haven't been on that. Nor have I been on the Denso Carousel or Sparklet's Log Flume. I've been in the Hall of State, though. When I went in 2010, I saw an NFL exhibit as they had Super Bowl 45 there in Arlington at what was then called Cowboy Stadium in January of 2011. They had a representative from the NFL giving a little talk about the NFL experience and other things that would be connected to the game. There's also the African American Museum. There is the Children's Aquarium at Fair Park. There is the Texas Discovery Gardens. There is the Lone Star Arts Competition Gallery. There is the Music Hall at Fair Park. There is the Texas Vietnam Veterans Memorial. and the Continental Daughters of the American Revolution House. I was thinking of the Daughters of the Alamo from the TV show Dallas. And Sully was in that group. Anyway, there's also the football game between the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners, which is played in the Cotton Bowl during the fair. They call it the Red River Shootout. Dallas is halfway between Austin and Norman, Oklahoma. Another football game is called the State Fair Classic between historical Black College University schools, Grambling State and Prairie View A&M. Coming up, the story of a haunted hotel in Texas. Alright, there was a hotel in the Fort Worth Dockyards called Miss Molly's Hotel, and people say it's haunted. It used to be a boarding house and a brothel. People say they've seen a ghost of a cowboy called Jake, the ghost of a little girl, and apparently the girls who worked there when it was a brothel are apparently still on the job because they'll stand at your bed. And also people have reported strange smells. Coming up, a look at a Texas sports legend. Alright, this week's sports legend from Texas is Earl Campbell, the Tyler Rose. He was the 1977 Heisman Trophy winner when he played at the University of Texas. He was the number 1 draft pick by the Houston Oilers in 1978 and helped revive the franchise, as they made the playoffs for 3 straight years, from 1978 to 1980. He had finished his career with the New Orleans Saints and was a part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 1991. Coming up, I'll tell you about a podcast I follow on Spreaker. Well, as you know, my podcast here is on Spreaker, and I produce it through their studio app. One of the other podcasts that I follow and listen to is called Sasquatch Odyssey. Host Brian King Sharp, a former police officer in North Carolina, has stories from people who have say they've seen or had encounters with Bigfoot. Well, that's going to do it for my show this week. Make sure you hit the download button and leave a like and a rating and a follow and subscribe. This podcast is available on Spreaker and some other podcast platforms. You can also hear it on YouTube. My name is Chris Carlisle. I write, produce, and host this podcast. Thank you for listening.